games of Dota based on creep equilibrium, all of this BS. But there's also rotations. There's all these nuances. If you want to be good at laning, you can win games that way. If you want to be good at a hero, you can win games that way. There's a lot of million different ways to win, but there's also a million different ways to break down the game, and we're going to see that with Effie and Purge.
Thanks, guys. Mir's standing here with me, holding a bunch of precious metals. What does it feel like?
It feels kind of cool, actually. Watching from the studio, I see people crush these keys. I look at this hydraulic press. I thought, it's not that cool, but now that I'm here, it's kind of hype, actually. I can see how players would be excited putting it in there.
Yeah, it just kind of looks like Play-Doh when the hydraulic press does its work, but unless you get to hold the metal in your hands.
I've got Fnatic Onyx Key from MLBB. It's very sad for them. I'm holding their literally crushed dreams in my hand, just like Liquid just crushed Falcons.
Wow, great segue. That they actually did. I was a little unsure because there's been a lot of stomps, like tactical stomps, the last couple of days. So I was unsure who's going to do well at various stages, but that was kind of a big surprise, considering Liquid went from getting stomped 2-0 to now stomping.
Yeah, I thought that after Liquid's game versus gaming yesterday, that their draft might have looked a little bit exposed, because that's what it seemed like to me, especially versus the Chen and the Enchantress.
Yeah.
But they got their Beastmaster, they got their Pango, and they played their lanes incredibly well. I think that Falcons probably underestimated what happens if they give Liquid heroes like that, because Liquid are still one of the most dominant teams of this tournament.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, because I was sitting there watching the draft at the Moon, and it is so remarkable sitting with a top 4 team in the world coach talking about drafts. He's like, oh, they banned Enchant and Beast. Or even before they banned Enchant and Beast, he was like, they need to ban Enchant and Beast here so that they can get the Beastmaster. They ban it. And then he's like, okay, they're going to ban Beast now. They didn't. Oh, they banned Oracle. Okay, I guess they're going to be picking a Darkseer. And then they get the Beastmaster. He's like, oh, that's kind of interesting that they let him have... It's so interesting getting these like deep nuggets. It's fun.
Maybe they thought they had answers for Beastmaster. That's what it seems like, because they had the Jakiro and they had the Gyro. But honestly, 3-3 is one of the heroes that he likes to play his heroes when they're countered anyway, because he farms incredibly fast on Beastmaster, even after a bad lane. And when he gets that Ags timing, Liquid know how to play around it very well. So maybe a little bit of a mistake there, but also I think it's a little bit of a mistake to leave that Nisha Pango in, especially if you want to run that Sand King mid. That's a hero that a lot of teams have been running very effectively versus Sand King.
I think Moon said that it was actually a bad matchup for Pango, because he says when you do shield crash, if you just burrow strike him, it just cancels the shield crash. So you don't get the last hit, you don't get a barrier either. So he actually says it's a hard matchup. He said Nisha was doing really well. So
in theory, it should be, but I've seen a lot of Pango versus Sand Kings in this tournament. One that I also remember is GPK Pango versus XM Sand King mid, and GPK won that lane. So I think it can be a little bit skill-based, where if you're a very, very experienced Pango player, you can actually get the edge in that lane. That's what
cool.
It looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it's still up in the air. Clearly both teams are comfortable with the matchup. So we have another game coming up in a second, and it's possible that we're going to see a key get crushed shortly after the next game, but we'll see what happens. Back to you guys.
happen a rematch against Gaming Gladiators. It's only one game that stands between them and that Grand Finals rematch that we've seen so many times before in 2023. But, you know, potentially it's different in 2024. Either way, if you're a Liquid fan, maybe you can start getting your hopes up just slightly, but not too much because we don't know yet what is in store for game number 2 draft, Lacoste.
Yeah, the big one for me was this Beastmaster going through, because this is the hero that Team Liquid had a lot of success with. They did win 5 out of 6 games. And Team Liquid, they just sped things up. They were pretty much playing like they did until they met Gaming Gladiators in that upper bracket finals. It felt like it's all about the speed, it's all about that tempo, and so far Team Liquid showing that even after losing to Gaming Gladiators, they can still pick themselves up, come up with a really good draft, and most importantly, execute that draft.
Losses are where lessons are learned. Sorry, Effie, to cut you off there.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of lessons to be learned here by Falcons, but I do believe that they can learn these lessons, because to me that did feel like their draft just did not enable them at all to fight once Team Liquid hit their timings. And the two key things that come to mind are the Beastmaster, like Lacoste mentioned, but also the Pango versus Sand King. We've seen this a few times throughout the tournament, where Sand King players in theory think that they should beat Pango mid, but Pango at the very least goes even with Sand King and just plays a tempo game. That hero does not get shut down. So you definitely also just have to consider either taking it for yourselves, you are a Pango team, or not giving it away.
Yeah, Pango seems to have somehow slid under the radar in this tournament, where it's just never banned, but everybody's picking it and winning with it, and it looks
never
good.
Banned, and it's never bad, this hero,
It's
in the last couple of years.
It's always good.
Never banned is a bit of a stretch, but very rarely it's not the most banned, which I feel is that surprising aspect.
Yeah, with the speed at which people play. And I was thinking about something with regards to Team Liquid and 33 fitting in. He was playing the Beastmaster last game, so, you know, farm-intensive offlaner for, you know, at least a couple of items. He has a Monkey King carry and a mid-Pango. These are heroes that want to get active. Even Monkey King, while he does want to farm, people are going through the portal, they're ganking side lanes. So I almost feel like part of 33 fitting in is actually the fact that the meta has adjusted to the playstyle that Liquid would naturally be more comfortable with anyway.
Yeah. And speaking of 33, I mean, Liquid banned Doom in the first phase, which is very indicative of wanting to go for the Beastmaster again, because that's considered his counter in this patch. Something Falcons could do is just pre-take the Enchantress. That way you're not worried about the Beastmaster, or they pre-take the Pango like we talked about. They are a Pango team. Malrine excels on this hero. They can also play offlane on Amar, but Beastmaster still in the pool.
Pango is back, baby, to being first picked. What a time. Like, we tried to nerf this hero so many times.
It didn't take long.
It's just, Swashbuckle's mad. You know what? We're just going to play off Shield Crash instead. But yeah, overall strong hero. Misha had an exceptional game in the previous one, dying only once. Right itemization. I got to point out that double Mage Slayer was kind of what shut down Sanking.
Yeah.
Timbersaw as well. They didn't get the chance to have that explosive damage, what you want to have from these two heroes.
Whoa.
I feel like it's been a very long time since we've seen this hero.
Yep, it has been first phase ban a lot, but this hero completely crushes Pango. Like, this is absolutely not an easy lane for Pango. It's one of the hardest mid lane matchups for him. So you might be looking at that offlane flex now just to make your draft easier.
Do we think that Liquid would be willing to run this as a carry on the SF? Because that's what OG has been doing, or OG did. It actually ran it, I think, in almost every game. Tomato was the one playing it as a carry.
I prefer him to be played from the mid lane. It's a good matchup. They can still flex this Pango to an off lane, so you don't know the matchup completely. But the hero I want to see get banned is Spirit Breaker. I think this is the hero that causes quite a lot of issues for Shadow Fiend. And we've seen Shadow Fiends not going, at least the mid ones, for the Yule Scepter. Instead, it's a Blink, it's a BKB into Yasha Kaya. So you still have an issue to address, and I think Spirit Breaker is the big one. His charge also going through the BKB, which is a big question mark for me. Why does it work that way? And also Nether Strike, very annoying hero to deal with.
Yeah, that's a great call out, Lacoste, because that's exactly what happened actually. In the BB team versus Tundra series, they ran mid SF on GPK versus Thompson Sand King, and he got completely demolished. But once that Darkseer hit level 3, got level 2 Ion Shell, he put it on his Spirit Breaker. Spirit Breaker charged mid, they killed the Shadow Fiend, and Thompson is able to come back into the game off of that. So that's definitely something you should think about.
And also their offlane Darkseid, because he got the final hit with the Ion Shell. So
He did.
It's tough to say because I don't think Falcons are that Darkseid team. So you're going to have a very different offlane pairing, which begs the question, is Spirit Breaker still as impactful if you're not really going to be there present in that offlane when Team Liquid in Game 1 loved to shut down the offlane? Amar was not able to get the ball rolling for himself on a big comfort hero.
Yeah, that is true. I would say for Falcons, if I had to bet on it, I would say it's more likely that they would rotate the Pango to the offlane to deal with the SF in a way, and then pick something that's just like better against the SF mid and in like a mid-to-mid matchup. So looking at Malreen's heroes, mid-to-mid versus the SF, a lot of his heroes are actually kind of countered. Yeah, Tiny, I guess, because you can have a toss the SF out, and I think that is one of the better matchups versus SF just in the game.
Do you just sack lane and hope that you have high-tempo supports that are wanting to run with this support, as well as either an offlaner or a carry that creates the number advantage of 4 rolling as well?
I don't think Malreen will ever sack the lane. I could see like a Primal Beast.
Well, we've got a couple questions about this, but Purge himself does have, I believe it's still Moon Meander standing by, but either way, let's hear some thoughts from those guys.
Yeah, that's right. I'm here with Moon. Moon, what do you think about the draft so far?
So the Shadowfin pick definitely premeditated by Team Liquid. The idea is that they're going to abuse the fact that Falcons doesn't run the position 4 melee roaming like a Spirit Breaker like we do against Shadowfiend, because that's what counters Shadowfiend. Like one roam in the mid lane, he's just going to die even though he has a good matchup.
Okay, what do you think about the J-Hero pairing with it? You said this was one of Insania's heroes in the last draft?
Yes, so if Savan and ET ban, Insania is limited all the way down to Jakiro, so they need to secure his hero here. If they don't take the Jakiro here, Falcons might steal it because they played on position 4 and 5.
And then you're also talking about their need for a stun to set up the SF ulti, right?
Yes, that's why I don't like the Elder Titan ban from Falcons, because Liquid needs a stun, and the only stuns in the offlane that 33 plays is Beastmaster and Sand King, so I really felt like, unless Falcons has the plan for Sand King 16-17.
Alright, great. Well, we'll throw it back to the panel.
Thank you, Purge. Moon, giving out some ideas there that they're also a little bit worried about the offlane pool of the side of Team Liquid. So a lot of different questions in this chess game that they're going for. But this Enchantress, you mentioned it in the pre-game, Effie. You also mentioned it in Game 1 when it was banned out. But here it is. They're prioritizing it for Falcons and want to pick it up here.
Yeah, I think this is by far like one of Snake King's best heroes, if not his best hero in this tournament, because he's been making some really great plays. He wins his safe lane so hard, and then I've seen him like send centaur creeps alone through the twin gate to gank the enemy carry while still staying on the lane to secure farm for his carry. Like, he's been doing really cool things, and in theory, this Enchantress with a good creep can rotate mid on this SF and dive his tower and potentially be a means to shut him down. So I love seeing this Enchantress come out of Falcons, because Team Liquid showed us yesterday that they don't really have the best answers to Enchantress. They ran a Nyx Assassin yesterday. It didn't look good for them. It slowed down their pace a little bit too much. So I would imagine they don't want to overreact to this Enchantress. They could even pick something like a Crystal Maiden if they wanted to, and that would honestly probably be enough.
I like the CM. I also don't mind the Nyx. I just think that the way that you have to play it is different. Like, I think the issue that they had was that they continued cutting the creep wave after the Enchantress left the lane and went through the portal to gank the other lane. I think that's an issue.
Ooh, I like this.
Because then the carry free farms.
I like the Brewmaster, even though Team Liquid, they didn't have much success with the hero. They are still 0 and 3. We've seen different builds on Brewmaster, and also I don't see any explosive damage on Falcon. So right now, Brew has a pretty guaranteed split in a team fight. Sure, they're still gonna pick, you know, some heavy damage coming out, but also in terms of control, you have Blink Lasso, you have Pangolider's Rolling Thunder, but you have an Ice Pad to follow it up, maybe a Requiem to try to save Brewmaster so that he can get the split off. And looking at the Falcons, the two supports on their side, they want to speed. They want to have speed. They want to be able. I see Batrider, I see Enchantress. These heroes want to rotate early on. They want to get on Shadowfiend on mid and just dive tower, get as many kills as possible. So Team Liquid, they need to be able to punch back. They need a hero that can easily join some of these earlier fights, and that's going to be Marcy for now.
And they, TL take a page here out of OG's book. They love that Marcy Brew lane, but it also just fits their playstyle so well. Brew is just a great hero here to back up SF, give him that teamfight cushion. Also, Brew buying these auras is going to make it so that Shadow Fiend himself is extra protected. You also now have this sidekick damage amp that you can add to the Shadow Fiend later in the game if the flex to carry is there. And this is a heavy dive lane. Marcy plus Brew, I've seen it like dive carries like level 3 and just win those over and over again. So pretty scary coming out of Team Liquid, but I still think that this Enchantress will and can do a lot on that lane.
The way you play against Brew, you want to be able to kill the Brewlings, maybe Sven, maybe Gyrocopter again. I want to see some explosive damage. These are also BKB carries. I would prefer Sven probably, because you also want to have something to jump this.
It's banned.
It's banned.
What about Ursa?
I was thinking Ursa too.
That works. Battle Fury
There's not
carrier.
much left that doesn't get owned by this lane that can burst.
And I feel like you want to pick your, I was going to say, you want to pick your carry here because I think the
that's
pool
really
is
good.
getting too small.
That is the perfect pick, in my opinion. It counters both of these heroes, and it's the burst we talked about.
Well, look, Jenkins, it's not just your opinion that we're getting here. We're going to head on back down to Purge and Moon for some more words from them.
All right, Moon, they didn't grab a Sand King to initiate with the SF. Do you think the Marcy or the Brew are going to be good enough?
The Marcy pick is against the Enchantress because you want to melee 4 against Enchantress because Enchantress just trades way too well. I'm a little worried for Team Liquid because their only initiation is a Marcy jump. After the nerf, Marcy needs like level 7 to have a reliable initiation. And with heroes like SF and Jakiro, those heroes really need setup.
How's the Falcons draft looking otherwise?
Falcons draft looks very solid. They have a solid initiation of Barrier Blink Lasso later in the game. They have strong teamfight of Pangolier. And this time their safe lane looks a lot better. Last game they had AA into Beastmaster. That's why the Gyrocopter died in lane, I felt. And this game is Enchantress Troll Warlord. Now this is a monster-ass lane.
All right, great. We'll send it back to the panel.
Thank you, guys. Moon also reminding us about this Sand King, that it's still in the pool. It could go for either side at the moment, because we really don't know if that SF is going to go mid, if it's going to go to the safe lane. And same with that Pango as well. It's still just as flexible. So now it feels like maybe a game of chicken. Have they lost faith in the Sand King? And what Liquid, or as we've seen as a counter, Tiny is also still in that pool. So both of them either going to be completely ignored or potentially picked up here in the last phase.
Yeah, last pick for Team Liquid in this one. They're still going to cover the bases, ban Io, because they think it's maybe Marcy as a carry, but there are two heroes that I'm looking forward to. That's either Wind Ranger or maybe Vengeful Spirit as a carry, just so that you have, swap against this duel, against this Batrider Lasso as well. And you can also, because you get the Aghanim Scepter, you don't care too much about swapping yourself in. And Wind Ranger also good matchup against Troll, good against Bat. Pango rolls in with the BKB Focus Fire. You can bring some of these heroes relatively easy down.
I love this LC. So Amara is always busting out this LC, like, in games where you don't think about it or you don't remember it, but it does great here for the reason of killing this Brewmaster. This Brewmaster is currently the crux of TL's fight. And Moon mentioned, from the audience that they're going to have good initiation in the Lasso, but the Lasso is too short duration, and like you mentioned, Lacoste, not enough explosive damage. But if you get the follow-up duel on the Brewmaster, that will be enough damage to kill this Brew.
It's 10 seconds.
And it's like one of the only offlanes you feel comfortable blind picking.
It's an interesting flex of the SF to carry against the Legion, because in lane, Legion is a melee hero. You can get the triple raise. It is very strong against the SF, or SF is strong against Legion in lane. But in the game, an SF carry will feed a Blade Mail Legion duel 100% of the time. So this means Liquid is confident that they can snowball the game to the point where that doesn't matter, or that they're going to win that lane so hard that the SF will have enough items that he can deal with that. I also think Troll against SF carry is good as well. This is a ballsy flex in my opinion.
Not just that, you're playing against Enchantress, who's going to go through that tower and through the Twin Gate and dive your carry, and SF cannot defend himself against the neutral creep diving him. That's very scary. That's a very bold flex by Liquid here.
It is a very scary looking draft from Falcons. I think they adjusted themselves what they needed after seeing what happened in game number 1. Much stronger lanes, especially the safe lane, Troll Enchantress. You don't lose that lane. There's not enough explosive damage. It is a strong off lane, but I don't think it's strong enough to beat this lane. And also LC, as Jenkins pointed out, I think if he's off to a good start, if they make a rotation to his lane, he's going to be able to get those Blink Duel, Blade Mail damage early on into the game and can easily snowball from that.
All eyes on Amar. As if that hasn't been said before.
Exactly. I like it storyline-wise as well. We've come full circle. He brought out the Legion Commander on day number 1 of groups against Team Spirit. It wasn't successful there. He still tried it here or there, and there's been mixed results for himself, but they're on the verge of elimination. Whilst they've made it to top 3, I'm sure they want to make it to grand finals. We're going to see if this Legion Commander works out, if they're able to bounce back. But first, some words from Auri and Purge.
Hey, how are you feeling about the draft so far?
Decent. I guess like last game was pretty rough for us, so this game was mostly like recovery, and we had to like start coping it up because that game was pretty bad.
It didn't look the best. What's up with the Legion offlane? It's a hero that you guys are picking semi-consistently. No one else touches it.
I don't know. Like we just think like it has a place. It's like pretty good with Jakiro. They'll probably swap the lanes this game, but then they have Jakiro versus Ench, which hopefully we can pressure with Tro Ench. And if not, then like his spells don't really do much to Legion. I think Amar's one of the players that can like take over a game on this hero. So I think maybe it's a bit overvalued by us, maybe it's a bit undervalued by other teams. I don't really know, but we found decent games with this hero.
Is it difficult to force Amar to play conventional offlaners?
I don't think so.
I mean, he does them sometimes, but he is the Slark player, the Legion player. I'm seeing a pattern here.
I mean, he keeps telling us to pick him Ursa with Battle Fury and Sven offlane, so maybe it's a bit hard, but we just, you know, it's easy. Just say no.
All right, great. Rein him in. Nice job. Well, good luck in your match.
Thank you.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, getting into the action of Game 2 between Team Liquid and Team Falcons. And indeed, as discussed there and as we saw on the draft, this time Falcons opting to go for that Amar Legion Commander to end things up here. What do you make of this one?
I just find it funny how Curtis says, you know, sometimes you have to rein him in, but sometimes you do have to let Amar, just let the Amar go, because he can just do these type of incredible stuff. It looks like a pretty interesting one. I'm not sure how strong it does look in particular overall. It is that hard lockdown I think that they did want versus the Brewmaster as the game does go down. But speaking of lockdown, this is a last pick puck versus some limited disables early on. Until they do itemize for something like an Orchid, which we will see from Malvine early, it'll be tough to catch this puck.
Crit. He's trying to fly away, but the slows are coming in.
He
the
ain't
damage
going
as
anywhere.
well. Can they give it to one of the cores? They can't. Boxy will take it, but it's first blood nonetheless here for Liquid.
Saw the Void stance even coming out there from the Brewmaster for the extra slow. Nisha trying to scout stuff out. We'll just jump away. So yeah, getting that first blood. Haven't seen Crit really play the Batrider too much. This is actually his first one this tournament. He used to play it a lot, even in earlier this year, but it did get some nerfs, and he hasn't touched it. And now he's at the skill Firefly level 1, which is usually not the thing you want to get. You usually want to either have Flame Break or have that sticky Napalm to secure the lane. So see if that has any type of repercussion for how Amar is going to end up doing versus this SF and this Jakiro lane. And yeah, Liquid overall, they had a pretty explosive game. So let's see how Falcons kind of just adapt in that early game so they can make it to some of these later stages.
Get the jump over towards Mickey. They're going to try for this.
Got the speed up.
Indeed, Boxy able to buff Mickey up, get him the movement speed to keep his distance. Skeeter on the other side of the map. He's getting chased down. Liquid, they're going to get themselves a second kill, whilst the rest of Falcons were trying to chase for a kill themselves, but unsuccessfully. Falcons 2-0 to start this one off, going the way of Liquid.
Yep, and they are doing the switch up of the lanes. So Insania, he is avoiding that matchup at bottom. He is going up toward top versus the Enchantress with the Brew. It's a strong lane either way with the Brew and the Jakiro. Just we'll see how much the Ench snaking can do to just protect Skeeter in this one. And bottom, it's a strong lane too. It's a Marcy SF. This is not something to laugh at by any means. It's a hero that can provide quite a lot for Shadow Fiend.
Oh, for sure.
And something I was looking at perhaps with this Marcy pick also is just getting the sidekick buff up always for the SF could allow him to just fight back through some of these heroes that can sometimes be annoying. So yeah, we'll have to see how all that does kick off. And see, as also, the other thing we do have to mention is the priority of Pangolier. Last game, it made it all the way to the last pick. Malrine, they went back to just snap picking it for him.
Yeah, I mean, with the hero being shown off the way it was last game by Nisha, deservedly so, having this prioritized earlier in the draft. You know, Malrine can also give us a crazy game on it.
Yep. And right away, he's already off to a 3-3 start. Does get the deny onto that range creep there. Very nicely done, pulling the aggro. Now, something about the puck, you know, in the early game, your base damage is pretty low, in particular to be able to get these guaranteed CS versus these universal heroes who just go the stats.
Snaking. The slow winner from Skeeter to hold back 33, and the heals are out from Snaking.
Now we'll see how Nisha does in this matchup, because this does not feel easy for him at all. Malrine's really taking advantage of... He's doing something pretty cool. So I've seen a lot of these heroes picked lately versus the Pango to try to dodge the shield crashes and stuff like that. I've seen like the phase shift, even some Void Spirits. He's not doing the double jump. He's doing the single jumps just to connect the damage onto Nisha, which is pretty cool. There's little things to point out in the lane that maybe could give him that edge. Another range creep deny. That is quite a bit of them. I think that's 2 of them, at least 2.
Beautiful, beautiful start from him so far here. I
Bottom.
mean, overall,
Crit.
we get
We'll be
buffed up
okay.
here by Amar. And we'll allow him to get out. As you say, definitely big kill potential from Liquid if they are able to find the setup with the Marcy to line up the raises from Mickey.
Yeah, that's also why perhaps they did want this Legion Commander. Maybe they expected the flex that could come out and stuff. They do have the Dispel versus these raises and stuff on top of everything too. So even if they do get a couple stacks, he can Dispel and perhaps go aggressive. So far, Amar farming very nicely down here. And Nisha struggling. Be a time for him to catch up once he starts getting some more stat items in particular versus the Pango. Yeah, Maureen. Gonna have a good start on the Pangolier. And he just keeps landing. I think he's landed every shield crash on him, actually. Another one where he does the single shield crash and hits him. He's at up.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing it in the CS, as you say, just how much Nisha's suffering in this matchup.
Yeah, although he's not playing versus the most of disables in the game, they can itemize, as I was mentioning. You know, the Orchid that we've seen popularized on these Pangos a lot when you play versus the Puck. Another range creep deny. How many was that? I think that was 4 or 5. I mean, I think he's gotten like at least 4 or 5 of these range creep denies. Like, crazy stuff already. Seeing the difference in levels already. He's got a half level advantage almost.
Top lane, 33. Continue to farm pretty well, but again, for this lane, you know, denies coming in from Skeeter.
Definitely quite a lot of
10
them there.
denies in this lane.
A lot of denies across the board. We have 26 denies just on the cores. Xenia.
Put the blood grenade down here, Snake King. He's looking to try and chase for the kill, but
Reset.
stick charges are there for Insania. Don't quite have damage to take him out.
I have to keep I'm keeping my eyes on bottom because it feels like a kill could come out in pretty quickly in any moments if they do make some type of missteps. Mickey has prioritized boots nice and early on, so does have the way to reset away from the repositioning that comes out from the Bat Rider.
Yeah, difficult to get on top of this SF.
Grab Amar back.
But get some of the raises out.
Dispel.
Dispel, and that will keep him safe. Now Crit trying to fight back. He's got the Firefly in onto Boxy. Boxy, he's got a
stick.
low, and they've got a few more raises ready to throw back out. So Boxy will be kept safe. Both teams falling pretty low though between the two of them. Got 4 of them in that bottom lane.
Skitter now getting aggressive. Good going on him, 33. It's the clap. Is it enough healing?
It's like he's trying to do his best here to block them off. 33 taking a lot of damage
Oh.
in return. A stick charge.
There's another seed shot.
Has he got enough damage here? Not quite. 33 will live.
But protecting is scary, getting those heals up onto him, Skeeter. They're out of regen up here for now. Yeah, they actually have no regen up here anymore for Skeeter. So Skeeter does have to be a little cautious of the next potential go since 33 is resetting. He's healing up with a healing salve. So eyes on the Troll Warlord's HP. Let's see, Snay does get another one of these Warpine Raiders to try to get this harassment again. Insania.
Far up. Maybe feeling that they can come towards snaking them. As soon as they're level 2 heal now.
Yeah. I like keep eyes. I mean, we see a lot of this, of course. Just raindrop. Just all stat into raindrop just so you can tank through that burst damage that could potentially hurt the Enchantress. Skeeter's still staying very, very low, but getting this good CS. Insane amount of denies. 31 denies across the board here for the side of Falcons. And now at the moment it's what? 19, I think, if my math is quick, on the cores on the side of Team Liquid. So yeah, prioritizing on lane a lot here as Malrine glyphs the mid. He's got the 6, so Power Rune. See how they look to contest it versus this Pango.
It's been a much stronger opening from Falcons this time round. Insania is going to try and
Not
TP
quite.
out. Make it Maori, not able to get him with enough burst before so. But yeah, much stronger performance here from Falcons in the lanes here.
Mm-hmm.
Game
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, you heard it from Aoi in particular, right? They went for something a little bit more standard, stuff that they have played before. Even though I said that Crit hasn't played it in this tournament, he has played the Bat quite a bit, you know, in comparison to... They did try that AA, which was a little bit of a reach that they wanted to go for here, and now just trying to re-establish things in the lanes. 2 kills for Liquid, but the lanes, as you said, for Falcons, looking good.